As we kick off Senior Bowl week here with Executive Director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy. Great to join us. Going to be fun to watch all of our coverage this week here on NFL Network leading up to the game broadcast on Saturday. And Jim, this is a unique year for the Senior Bowl in a lot of ways. Obviously, for everyone involved with the COVID-19 pandemic, especially now that the Combine won't happen in the fashion that we normally see it, that we traditionally see it. So are you seeing teams place a lot more emphasis on getting down there and getting in front of prospects as much as they can in Mobile this year?
I don't know about more emphasis, but they're definitely more excited to be here than in some years. Not being able to be at games this fall down at field level, they were allowed in the stands at college games. But I just had a chance to go across the street to the convention center where they're all showing up right now and going through their first round of COVID testing here in Mobile. And the guys are fired up. They are excited to see players, see them live, interview them. So it was great to get the players here on Saturday. That's always kind of like Christmas Day for us here to get these guys down here. And now that the NFL guys are starting to show up this afternoon, now it's getting real.
Jim, I'm looking forward to getting down there this weekend and going to cover the game here for the network. But one of the names that jumps out to me, you're able to get Mac Jones to commit to this game, the quarterback from Alabama, coming off a monster season, more than adequately filling the shoes there at Tua Tagovailoa. What did you say to him to convince him to come, and how excited are you to see him out there on the grass tomorrow?
Yeah, we're very excited to say that first. Went over and met with him and his mom and his girlfriend at David Morris, our friend David Morris over at QB Country. And really with the quarterbacks, we've got a lot to sell. We've got 5 top 10 quarterbacks in the last 4 years. Coming into this, coming in what we're talking about here was with Herbert. You guys previewed Herbert coming into this segment. And just tell Mac, in this year where you've got a Trey Lance from North Dakota State, Justin Fields, Ohio State, and Zach Wilson from BYU, kind of all jockeying for position behind Trevor Lawrence, you've got a chance to jump those 3 guys because they don't have the opportunity to be here in Mobile. You do. And just the familiarity working with a staff like the Panthers who own the 8th pick, and just being down here in front of all 32 teams, that's a chance those guys don't get. So kind of laid it out that way to Mac, and we're excited to get him. And he's fired up to compete. That's the first thing he did. He called, and he's like, Jim, I'm just ready to compete.
I love hearing that. There's so many names I'll have a chance to ask you about these guys all throughout the week. But one more I wanted to ask you about, because I believe he's my highest rated player in the game this year, and that's Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida, little do everything. What did you think of him, first of all, as a player, and what can he prove down here this week in Mobile?
Yeah, it's been like a 6-year evaluation on Kadarius. He's a local Mobile guy. Like you said, highest rated player in our game, probably right now going into the week. He stood out right away when I was with the Seattle Seahawks. I remember seeing Kadarius on the practice field as a true freshman, and he was the most dynamic player on that field as a true freshman. And now here we are 4 years later, and he really put it together this year. Statistically, it looks different than it had in the past, but I think the player is still the same. He's got a chance to do it like Deebo Samuel did a couple years ago. Come down here, turn people inside out with his route running, and do things after the catch. And the community down here is excited because he is a local guy. I'm excited to see how high he can go in that first round.
Well, once you do get on the practice field, one of the highlights always during our coverage are the O-line, D-line one-on-ones. You get some of that pass rush action going. Give us a matchup to look forward to when we get out onto the field from those big guys up front on the offensive and defensive side.
Well, those are probably our 2 most stacked position groups right there, and maybe the running back crew as well. I would say I think DJ could help me out here with Levi's last name, Anwar Zarike from Washington.
There we go.
I'm still working on it, but a huge fan of mine. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I think he's the best 3 technique in the draft. So Levi against any of these guys. Okay. But you look at some of the center guard matchups with like a Deontay Brown from Alabama. What's the quickness of Levi against the strength and power of Brown? What's that going to look like? But there's a bunch of them. The trench battles are going to be awesome this year.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Trey Smith might start one fight here this week. That's my early prediction here with his physicality. There's going to be some fun battles to watch. It is a very deep offensive line group, no doubt. How about the other quarterbacks? There's some intriguing names on there, Jim. Anybody that jumps out to you besides Mac?
Yeah, I would start with Ian Book. My first exposure to him was with Red at the Manning camp a couple summers ago. And really, you guys know this. You start evaluating the quarterback from the ground up. And he's such a bouncy athlete, Ian is. And he really made a really nice late career jump. For a guy that played that much football, usually you see a jump between year 1 and year 2. But he did it this year. The game seemed to slow down a little bit. He seemed more comfortable taking shots, really knowing when to use his legs and when not to. So he's a guy right now that I think the league, just talking to friends around the NFL, they're a little higher on him right now than you maybe see in some of the media stuff. So I think he's somewhere there in late day 2. And see, again, with a good week, how high can Ian go?
I thought it was down there in Thibodeau with Ian. I remember asking him with the kids to put him through his favorite two-man route combination. I mean, he jumped into coach mode like that. I mean, brought us to a game situation, a scenario down there against the team that he played. He's like, I want you to do this. I mean, it was like a coach on the field out there. Really cool to see. I'll be excited to watch him down there once you guys kick off practice. And of course, Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, got a lot to look forward to this week. Thanks very much for joining us. We appreciate it. You can check out DJ's mock draft. You'll see some of these guys down at the Senior Bowl as well, NFL.com/Jeremiah. And of course, all looking forward to the game broadcast Saturday, January 30th, 2:30 Eastern Time, right here on NFL Network, the 2021 Reese's Senior Bowl. Big piece of the 2021 NFL Draft evaluation for so many prospects.